Hey, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sean.
This is Alex.
And this is Sven.
And you're listening to another episode of
Coaster Kings Radio.
First things first, before you go anywhere else, if you're on Spotify, you can now rate our show on Spotify if you listen to us on there frequently. So go ahead and leave us a rating on our Coaster Kings Radio homepage. If you're on any other streaming, go ahead and leave us a comment or review there as well. We really appreciate it. Help us grow.
That would be lovely.
That's my intro message. That would be lovely. I would appreciate that.
Yes. Please.
We also appreciate a good theme park early in the year, especially for Sven because he lives in a cold place.
Yes.
Sven,
a cold place.
You went to. Yes, it's cold.
Compared to Florida, maybe, yeah, but.
Yeah, it's cold. It's definitely cold by the average standard, but yes,
it's mostly been rainy as well, but so luckily I was able to do a first theme park of the year in these special times, and I went to Plopsaland, de Panne, for a ride to happiness, or a few even.
Did it make you happy?
It did make me happy.
Okay.
Yes.
So Plopsa is now open all year, but during the low season now it's on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays that they are open.
Wednesdays?
Yes, that's
for school trips, right?
Yes.
The midweek special? Okay.
Well, school trips,
sense.
not really school trips, but kids are off on Wednesday afternoons here in Belgium, so that's why.
Okay. So do they open
good.
in the afternoon for the day, like at 1 or 2, and?
Actually, I didn't check, but I guess they just open up, and then in the afternoon people start streaming in, hopefully. Plus, they also
hopefully.
have the hotel, of course. So.
Oh yeah.
They.
That's true.
And the pool.
In
which is closed at the moment. And so the indoor attractions are closed at the moment due to COVID regulations.
Oh,
but,
true.
There was plenty of things to do outdoor, even though it was raining. But we did quite some rides this time. But obviously, Ride to Happiness was a nice highlight, first coaster to start the year with. And they also have for the winter season, like how to put it, like light figures on display. So they made them especially about the characters from Plopsaland. So you have like lit up Heidi and Kabouter
So kind of like holiday light fixtures.
Yeah, obviously they're nicer during the evening. And they have a new projection show on the main square, on Mayaland, actually.
Yeah, on the walls, right? Yeah, I think I saw your story on European Coaster Kings, or Reel, yeah.
It has a lot of bubbles. Yeah, they just pour out bubbles everywhere with every song. So basically it's, you have the characters and the songs from the Plopsa.
Honestly, I'm a bubble hater.
Sean's done
I hate bubbles.
The bubble wand.
Here's the
I
thing.
love bubbles.
Hear me out. Oh my god. So like
You've
Disney,
never been to
Don't
one,
pop my bubbles.
I'm gonna burst all your bubbles. So like Walt Disney World, there's like 1,000,001 children there, and they all have a little wand that's themed to one of the many characters that Disney has introduced to the world.
Yes.
So it could be a Little Mermaid wand, or a Cars wand, or an Aladdin wand. I don't care, all the wands. And they all just like expel bubbles, and these parents don't give a shit. And so then these kids just like walk around with the bubble wand really slowly in front of your face, and all I'm doing is inhaling bubbles for like the duration of trying to get through the crowd. And every time there's some other kid or some other stroller where like the bubble wand is on non-stop, the kid just touches the button and the wand doesn't stop. And so I'm over here like suffocating in bubbles, and it's like a daily occurrence.
SeaWorld was pretty bad about it too. Remember when we were watching the Sesame Street parade?
I guess that's the one thing you don't really have at Universal.
Yeah.
Well, you would suffocate
J.K.
them
Rowling
during
wouldn't
the show.
allow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like bubbles. I saw a bubble show once at SeaWorld San Diego. That was really cool. It was like a rule breaker breaking bubble thing, and then it was part of Electric Ocean, and then they would build like giant human-sized bubbles, and they would be in the bubbles.
Okay,
like, it was really, really cool.
That's different.
But that's the only bubble I accept.
See, I draw the line at Snope, which Snope already is not my favorite.
I hate Snope so
what
much.
is Snope?
But that's tiny,
See,
tiny
if you're from a place where there's
bubbles
actual snow,
that mimic snowflakes.
yeah, it's like a little foam.
okay.
It's like foam.
Yeah, they had that
Yeah.
too at one song.
Yeah.
But
So
obviously,
Hollywood Studios went crazy with
My
Snope.
eyes hurt. thinking
obviously
Yeah.
Kadri was in the show, and the new Kadri was already in it with their song. So
Oh, okay.
Are they all new, or did they
No,
just
they
replace
have
the
one
one
new
girl?
person, right?
Yes, they replaced the blonde girl by a new Dutchie.
Again, the blonde ones don't last, man. The blonde ones don't last. They always die first.
But yeah, so how about you guys? What was your first park of the year?
So, as you may have noticed, I have recent experience with bubbles at Walt Disney World, so that's what we did.
Yeah, we've just done the usual suspects. We haven't even been to like Tampa or anything.
Well, we went to
outside.
Tampa, but we went to Tampa to pick you up from
Pick
work.
me up from the airport.
Like 1 in the morning.
And what was the
It
first
awful.
coaster? Do you remember?
First coaster.
Was it Velocicoaster?
It
No,
might have- well-
it may have been one of the last of the year.
Was it Rock?
It definitely wasn't Rock and Roller Coaster, because that shit was
it
down
Rock
for 6
Roller
days.
Coaster?
So that was not it.
Have we ridden a coaster yet this year?
I don't know if we've ridden the coaster.
It's
yet
possible
this
we
year.
haven't.
We went to several
We
theme
rode
parks.
Velocicoaster on Christmas Day,
Okay.
and I haven't. I can't remember what we've ridden since then. To be honest with you,
Wow.
That's okay.
We went to parks, but I don't know if we rode
we did.
any
We did.
coasters.
We've done some park visits.
Haven't
We
we
really.
ridden any rides? No, because it was
we
still
went-
so
we
busy.
went back
Even
to-
the first week, it was like 3.5 hours to Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, wow.
Rock and Roller Coaster was
Yeah.
down. Test Track was 2 hours. Like, it was just, it wasn't really worth it. We did ride to People Mover.
We've done People Mover.
couple
We've been
times.
we've been hitting Magic Kingdom,
just to look at Tron.
and
And then we walk all the way around the World Showcase Lagoon. No, not the World Showcase Lagoon. All the way around
the
Seven Seas Lagoon.
Yeah,
Which it's not advised because it's quite the walk. You
it's
have
a
to go to
30-minute
resorts.
walk, but it's fun for
But
us.
it's better than taking a bus or taking a boat. So
yeah, we've done a lot of park time. We've been to all of the parks.
But mostly it's to get our steps in. It was just kind of like exercise.
Okay.
But we haven't actually ridden a roller
Like
coaster
fast
yet
skatewalk,
this calendar year.
So here's another question. Did you visit any special secret places in the park?
Some hidden
sounds very
corners
dirty.
at any of our parks.
That sounds very inappropriate. No. Yes, we have. But aren't any of those parks on this list?
Well, Animal Kingdom, but that's way
We
further
didn't even
down.
go to
That's-
Animal Kingdom
Okay.
because Everest.
Oh,
So
we
that
haven't
was
been
my
there, right.
that was my transition
That's your
into
segue. It's
the
segue.
topic of this episode.
So,
Yes.
so today's topic is we're looking at like hidden spots in some pretty well-known theme parks that you may have been to but don't realize. And it's kind of like a spot where you can relax, or like a spot you really have to find. It's not something you would just like walk into like on purpose.
Mhm.
And we figured that's something different. So
Yeah,
let's talk about
the
it.
idea is also that if you visit this kind of place, you're taking a break from the crowd, you know? It's like usually people don't know about this, so you can take a breath and then you can go back into the bubbles.
Bubbles, that's right.
The bubbles, so to
Back
speak.
into COVID zone.
The figurative and literal bubbles.
So, without further ado, Sven, start us off. What is a good example?
Yes, we'll start in Disneyland Paris. And actually we wrote down two. We'll start with the one that we both wrote down actually. So if you enter the park and you stay on the left side, you can walk covered. You have a walkway covered all the way to the back of the park. So it starts off with the Liberty Arcade. So you keep left, you go to the Liberty Arcade. Obviously that is still a known way. And then if you continue straight forward, then you'll have like a passage for Frontierland. You'll pass through Fort Comstock, where you then have toilets. And that's also a smoking area now that they use.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you continue, that's really usually no one walks there. I guess cast members uses it as well. Because then you continue like to a nice transition between Frontierland and Adventureland. Mm-hmm. Then it gets a bit tricky to go forward because they changed what used to be shops is now the Agrabah restaurant. So you have to go,
Oh, right.
and there's the meet and greet with one of the Aladdin characters. So you have to push, you have to walk a little bit on the regular queue again to get
Just push Jasmine out of the way.
Yeah, just push her out of the way. And then you can continue just underneath also a kind of secret entrance to the Chalet aux Marionnettes, which is the Pinocchio
Oh, yeah.
restaurant. And then you finally end up on a transition bridge between Fantasyland and Adventureland.
Mm-hmm.
You guys used it.
I love that
Oh,
artery.
we use it all the time.
That's like
Honestly,
the best.
we're gonna talk about the arcade real quick. There's like a hidden corner in the hidden corner.
Yes.
And that is if you walk into this little movie theater looking corner.
It's a diorama.
You get inside and there's like a diorama of a steamboat and the rivers in front of New York, and you see New York in the background. Kind of set to like old Americana Centennial vibes. Really, really fun.
Yeah, they tell the story there of how France gave the Statue of Liberty to the U.S. actually.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
cute. Okay.
Yeah, I remember like the fiber optic fireworks.
I'm pretty sure there wasn't really a whole lot of speaking when we were in that little diorama. You have to wait for it to start?
Yeah,
Probably pretty
it could
subtle.
be,
There's
yeah.
probably different components and things,
Okay.
but yeah.
So that's more like a
Disneyland Paris.
convenient way also to go from the beginning of the park right to the back, so that you want to start with Pirates and you want to start at Fantasyland.
That's exactly what we did on day 3 of our last visit, but Pirates was closed.
But there's more.
Yeah, there's actually a hidden spot then is when you go into Frontierland and in front of you you have Big Thunder Mountain. You go all the way to the front until you're almost falling into the water. And then you go right, and then on the back side of the Rustler Roundup Shooting Gallery, there is a little platform with a bench, and it's just like a quiet place to relax and to watch the River Thunder Mesa boat pass by, to watch the Big Thunder Mountain pass by. And it's like a really nice, quiet.
Now, is this over on the side where the big restaurant is, where like Grizzly River Inn was supposed to be?
No. That's already too far. It's really when you enter Frontierland, you have Big Thunder Mountain in front of you. You just walk until you have. You can't. You just walk straight until you reach the border with the water, and you go right, and it's there.
Okay.
I'm
So it's
trying to think.
Yeah. So
Is it like by the station? Sorry.
no,
be
it's
I
a
know
lot
where the shooting
earlier.
gallery is. No. I'm talking about by the station for the boat.
It's on the other side of the station of the boat. Yeah, so the
my
station
God.
of the boat is
You
on the
have to-
left side, but you
have
have
to
it
Google
on the
this,
right
please hold.
side. Yeah,
I want to see what this. I'm pulling it up on.
on Google
Okay,
Maps,
so it's on.
or
So it's.
you can see it a little
it's just
bit
a little-
on the map.
I see it.
Yeah, there's like trees, and then there's like a little bridge, and it's a nice quiet area.
Oh, I see it now.
I see it now.
Yeah, that's cute. It's cute.
Frontierland is like really flush with this
So
kind of stuff
detailed.
because like,
Yeah.
I think the cemetery.
Yeah,
is
Boot
also a great
Hill.
example.
Yeah, that's a good
Boot Hill.
place to
Yeah, that's what we put on the list.
to
yeah.
see the geysers as well, because otherwise
Yeah,
you can
honestly,
only see them from
The dinosaur fossil.
riverboat
It took
landing.
me 8 whole days at Disneyland Paris to figure out where the dinosaur skeleton was.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we rode
Yeah,
the
the
boat.
signature Big Thunder Mountain dinosaur skeleton at the end of the 3 other installations has been relocated to the geysers to the right of Phantom Manor.
And yeah, actually, I could add a third one, and that's like the area and the caves around the Swiss Robinson family tree. There's
totally.
like how do you call that? Like a bridge,
Like a suspension bridge.
a suspended bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can reach, and you really have to go through the caves either from Skull Rock or from underneath the tree. So you could get lost if you want to.
Get lost.
Disneyland Paris is just like the single greatest park for this sort of thing, which is why I think it's
So
great
many
that we started with
walkthroughs.
it.
Yeah, no other Disney parks have that many
The
walkthroughs.
chateau of the or whatever the dragon lair under the castle.
Or the Ford walkthrough, or the giant but hidden
Yeah.
Jules Verne Nautilus walkthrough.
And that's the thing.
I just love that.
Like Frontierland and Adventureland, there's a lot of ways to go places, but on the other side, Discoveryland, if the door is closed towards Fantasyland because of the parade, then you really have to take a big detour to get to Fantasyland. So the left
I love
side
that walkway,
is
the forested
design.
walkway between like Star Tours and Small
yeah,
World.
there's like nothing there yet.
If it was actually
one
open
day.
all the time, that would be my choice.
Maybe one day.
And then I would also say that like Even though there's rides down there, the little Casey Jr. and Storybook Land boats area is
Often
such a
forgotten.
gem. It's such a underrated little corner.
And same thing, like you were talking about the restaurant in Frontierland. It's so if you go past Big Thunder Mountain, you have the way towards the train station, and on the left side is the new theater. But on the other left side of that is Pueblo Trading Post, where they usually sell like limited edition pins. And it used to be the River Keelboat, I think is the name, entrance for the smaller boats that were on the lake of around Big Thunder Mountain.
They were probably the Mark Twain.
And there's a Pocahontas playground, I think. If it's
the Frontier Playground. I'm looking at it now.
Mm-hmm. It is still there because it's off on the train.
Mm-hmm.
So
lots to see.
There'd be a Disneyland Paris Crystal Crown Award for like
best
hidden corners.
Shh, don't spoil
Disneyland Paris. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on, we're gonna cross the ocean real quick to another one of our absolute favorite theme parks in the world. And probably America's best example of a park full of like little hidden corners is actually Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. The way this park was designed is it's pretty simple. It's a big, straightforward, big loop. There's a couple of little offshoots that feature major rides and things, but a lot of what's on the park is on the midway. If you go towards the water in any given area of the park, any given island, you'll find that there's not a lot of traffic on the water's edge because these areas of the park don't actually have any attractions or rides per se. Mm-hmm. In some cases, these water's edge areas are used for overflow seating, for restaurants, for overflow queue for certain rides on like some of the busier times of year, or they're used for things like smoking areas or in COVID times, mask break areas. Mm-hmm. So, like, right when you enter Islands of Adventure, you can keep going and walk all the way to the water, and it's a very nice, like, little sunken plaza where you can just look out over the water, and you won't see a lot of people there.
Great views of Velocicoaster.
Beautiful.
Amazing views of Velocicoaster.
There's an area in Lost Continent, like, the dining area for Mythos technically continues all the way down to the water. You can access it without going into Mythos, but you'll find tables and things for when the restaurant is, like, completely full. There's a separate walkway loop that I think people use quite a bit, actually, in Seuss Landing that serves as, like, a shortcut through Seuss Landing so that you can get to Lost Continent and, therefore, Harry Potter and Jurassic World faster. But of all of the little extra hidden spots on the water at IOA, I think the best one, and the one that we've used the most for quiet time purposes, is the walkway area around Popeye and Blue's Bilge-Rat barges in Toon Lagoon. If you cross the bridge to go to Popeye, and then continue down to Me Ship the Olive, which is the 3-story tugboat ship play area, there's midway space that like wraps all around the ship, and the Rapids ride is beneath you, so there's lots of great vantage points for the Rapids ride. And there's just not a lot of people there. It's a dead end, unlike the Seuss walkway or some of the other, like the new bridge walkway to Velocicoaster. It's a dead end, so you're not going to see a lot of traffic make their way all the way down there unless they're like deliberately trying to get good views of Popeye, or more importantly, Velocicoaster. When Velocicoaster was under construction, when it was doing its envelope testing, when it was doing its full-scale testing, like we were in this midway area around Popeye constantly.
It actually got kind of busy because there would be so many bloggers.
Yeah, it was full of bloggers trying to get their pictures.
But generally speaking, it's so dead.
Generally speaking, it's very pristine and serene, and you get excellent views of Velocicoaster, great views of Hulk.
Yeah,
because it's right there, just across the water from Marvel Superhero Island. This area, I think, was built because with Popeye, they don't really have a lot of dedicated overflow queue for Popeye.
Well, it used to be one of the stations for the boat that only operated.
And they had
a giant dock. So you used to be able to like board a boat.
Yeah, wow.
The Gilligan's Island.
So it had much more like an infrastructural need.
True.
But now it can be used as overflow queue, but it never really gets that bad anymore because there's a lot of overflow queue even on top of the buildings and the station for Popeyes. and now it's just kind of like old infrastructure that's well maintained. Like they repainted it all like regularly. But yeah, it's just kind of a nice place to kind of unwind. It's cool.
There's a lot of, like, because the first year, like, Islands of Adventure, they built a lot of overflow for rides that ended up never needing it because the park performed pretty far below its expected attendance figures.
Thanks, Potter.
Like, there was giant overflow built for Dueling Dragons, and it only lasted a year. They demolished it and put the Flying Unicorn coaster there, which is now, of course, Flight of the Hippogriff. But, like, that whole promenade for Hippogriff and the entrance to Wizarding World, or the entrance to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey was all occupied by overflow queue for Dueling Dragons that was never, ever, ever used. There's lots of overflow for Ripsaw Falls, Dudley Do-It's Ripsaw Falls, but it's positioned after the marquee. It's kind of a lot of dead space. I don't know if they really use all of it, but granted, the capacity for Deadly is lower than the capacity for Popeye, so there's probably busy summer days where they actually do use that queue. I think Popeye, even on its busiest days, they never actually have to build the temporary overflow queue into this hidden corner area of which we speak because it just eats people.
And what's nice as well is that for people that haven't been like me, if you look it up on Google Maps, you can actually walk the whole area. So they have it.
Yeah, well, kind of Google Street View your way around.
Yeah, the views look really nice from there, but it doesn't show Velocicoaster yet, so you can still see how it was before.
Not there yet, so you can see
nice.
prior. Yeah. All right, so
next one won't be quite as long.
Sorry.
We're excited.
Very passionate about a little walkway here or there. Speaking of little walkway here or there, Phantasialand is very well known for its multi-level integrated world building, and of course that allows for many hidden areas. The park is full of them, but my favorite is the walkway from Chiapas to the final helix of Colorado Adventure, which this walkway goes through Chiapas's overall show building-y, infrastructural, whatever you want to call that, world building.
Gravity building.
And then also passes underneath the 3 lift hills or I guess 2, and you can see that one off to the side, for Colorado Adventure. The cool thing is that it's very well themed inside the walkway. It's not very busy. It's just like a bunch of little stairs and little S-turns just to kind of make your way through almost a roller coaster tycoon way of like shortening distances between parts of the park. And at one point, when you get closer to Colorado Adventure, despite not being anywhere near its station, that's a whole different story, you pass underneath these Mexican flags. I forgot the names real quick.
Like the paper flags.
The paper flags, from Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just really, really pretty for a second. You see Chiapas all around you. You see Colorado Adventure all around you. And it's honestly one of the coolest spots in Phantasialand, and it really isn't that busy. The park was swamped when we went in July, and we took that midway as like just like a shortcut. It has a little sign saying which rides are in that direction because you really have no clue where you're going, and it was really, really peaceful. It was really relaxing. One of the few spots you can kind of escape at Phantasialand, which is hard because Phantasialand's so small that when they get really busy and they do that like really tight knit world building, it can get really overwhelmingly swamped really quick. At least from my experience. But that walkway really was a nice little breather, and it was really, really aesthetically pleasing. So definitely belongs on this list, I think.
We got to appreciate Chiapas quite a bit off-ride with those views.
Yeah.
We didn't ride it that trip because we didn't want to get wet, but we kind of got to experience.
It's funny, you can see so much from Chiapas from that walkway. We have a bunch of pictures on the website. There's angles I didn't realize you could really see like most of the ride's elements and effects. While you're on the ride, you don't realize people can see you.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're so in your own world, but that walkway that we're just describing, it literally goes all around the ride's elements, like the smaller drops and then the switch track, all that kind of stuff. Spoilers, I guess. You can see all that stuff off ride, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so sometimes the gates are closed though, so it's not always open. But either you reach it from the right side from the Chiapas entrance, or if you have the viewing platform for Talocan, it's there to the right, and there you can do the path until you go down the whole
we
area.
definitely just happened upon it because we were looking at Talocan.
We like accidentally stumbled upon it.
So that's another one. We didn't ride it this time, but we wanted to take some pictures, and we're like, oh,
the
there's
whole
a walkway
park is a lot
here.
of stumbling upon things, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of the point
But
of the
this
park.
it's incredible how they fit all that in there.
I know,
really is.
the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally one of the highlights for me on our last visit because it was just so cool.
And so is Colorado Adventure.
Yes.
It's a little shout out. I
That
guess.
ride is aging like a fine wine.
Next up,
Yeah, another park that has a lot of hidden places, but they have a lot of room as well, is Efteling in the Netherlands. So people that know the Efteling will know these places, but if you don't, if you aren't that familiar with the park, there are some areas where you definitely can go for a walk. One of them is on top of the Piranha Rapid River building. If you have the exit of the ride, you can go to the left, and there you have a walkway up to the station. It has very nice views on the lake for Joris and the Draak, for Baron 1898. And
I actually never walked there. Shame.
yeah, and
I think it's right here. I think I'm looking at it.
And also on the rapid side, you have statues where you can put your hand in, and then they spray towards the guests. So you have those at the exit of, almost at the end of the ride, but you also have them midway, and that's over there. And then you can cross the bridge over it to a very long walkway in the forest, which takes you from Fata Morgana right to Joris and the Draak. So that's also a road that usually people don't know about.
I'm
This
so
is
doing
wild.
this
I've never
next time
walked
we
there.
go.
See?
I see it now. I see.
I've
Yeah.
seen pictures of it from Sven, I
Wow.
think, from like back in the day.
Yeah,
but
that's
I've
a
never actually
huge
walked there.
And you can see a bit of the hotels like Loonse from there. So
Yeah.
so that's one. Then another one, and that's really something you need to know, is when you have the Spookslot building, which is rumored to have something new coming maybe in the future. You go on the left side when you stand in front of the building, and there's literally a forest path there, and it's called the Heksenpad, which translates as the witch path.
Witch's Trail.
Witch's Trail, yeah. And it's another way to like skip the building, because either you go on the right side of the building on the covered way, or you just go through the trees on this path all the way to the almost to Baron area. So that's also a nice little spot. Definitely quiet, only by people that know.
It's wild how many like walkways and paths and stuff are in Efteling. It is a very intricate and very
It's a huge park, you know. So
serious like
massive.
infrastructure. It's cool.
I love being surrounded by Efteling. And
I feel like at Efteling, I always feel like I'm very far away from the
Efteling
rest of the park.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I feel like that at every place I'm at the park. Like when you're at the Fairytale Forest with the donkey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the donkey
like
statue
that square.
courtyard would be one of
I
my
feel like
picks
I'm
for
not
thin
even, I feel like
spots,
I'm like
but
not
that
in
thing's
the
amazing.
park. You know, I feel like I'm at some pristine landmark. It's cool.
I feel so far away from worldly troubles and normal things.
Work-related issues.
Yeah, drama, all of it.
Beeb, take us to the next one.
Okay, so now we're going to Disneyland Resort. We're not going to Disneyland Park because we felt like Disneyland Park is probably the most studied and obsessed over amusement park in history. So even the like quote unquote hidden corners of Disneyland Park aren't really hidden.
No, apparently not. Especially because the locals will just like crowd
No.
up.
But at Disney's California Adventure, the waterside platform in Paradise Garden Park, formerly Paradise Pier, under the Silly Symphony swings, gives a really lovely view of Pixar Pier, just right at water level on water's edge, with the wave swinger ride just above you. We discovered this little walkway one of our visits while we were still living in California, We took a few pictures
I
there.
think I was there with Alex McLaren, who did a lot of photography for us in 2017. And we went over there.
Because I had
It's
no
like
idea.
it's like a little beach corner.
And I love
Overlook
you're
straight
kind of
at
like
the wheel. I guess now it's
the
Pixar's
Pixar Pal Around wheel.
Pal around wheel.
Yeah.
Lord. But yeah, it's a great view of Incredicoaster. And
It's painful.
this is a nice like foreground view of the Golden Zephyr. It's probably not a bad place to be for World of Color, although you may not have the best.
Also, it may not be open.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh, yeah,
are
they
you
may
allowed to
close
go?
it.
It has
Color, that's true.
it holds like all the machinery for like the lights and stuff on the side. Like it comes out of the ground. You know how Disneyland is like the one park that builds everything into the ground. And
Yeah,
it comes
all
out
of the
ground?
show materials and
Um,
stuff like pop up like daisies.
Like how we're instructing ourselves how it works.
Yeah.
And nobody can see that.
No one can see us mimicking speakers and light fixtures erupting from the ground in like New Orleans Square.
It's my
So,
wife's
yeah.
like, great job, keep active. Thanks
Oh,
for-
you're response. We haven't been keeping very fit the last couple of days just because one of us
COVID.
has been homesick with COVID, so
COVID.
I guess we need to
So,
visit more corners then.
we need hidden corners, yeah.
Next up, staying in California, honestly, like 4 or 5 miles away, at
Yeah.
Knott's Berry Farm. Obviously, Knott's Berry Farm has 1,000,001 hidden corners. They've got museums. They've
Yeah.
got all these walkthroughs and like interactive experiences. It's almost hard to like think of all of them. There's just so many. All these actors. Like that's one thing Knott's does very well. Ghost Town, Calico. But there's one area that people don't really seem to know about. There's a little cemetery / like gold mining themed river section that's located right underneath the turnaround of Pony Express. It gets you really close up to the launch. You can actually see like the whole flywheel mechanism
Oh, yeah.
doing this little flywheel thing, and then the train takes off right next to you. It's one of the many hidden spots in the park, but it's honestly one that's really cool for like if you're a nerd for roller coaster things, because you can get so close to all the mechanics for the Pony Express launch, and you just kind of see the train, the coaster train zip by, or the actual train, which runs underneath Pony Express, zoom right by. So that's actually a really really fun spot if you ever just want to nerd out and just explore something different.
I see a picture of the cemetery on Google Maps.
I think they sometimes use that spot for the Boysenberry Festival. When we got the Boysenberry relish and sausage.
No, that's over by like the festival barn, whatever the official barn name is.
But it's close to there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still like on the other side of like the little professor's schoolhouse or whatever. Like it's on
Gotcha.
the other side. Of
Yeah.
that.
Because
I
I
mean,
remember,
there's
I
a
do
million
remember
other
walking
buildings,
around
but-
in this area to take pictures of Pony Express, because yeah, the business end of Pony is all right there, plain to see for that one.
Alrighty. Ready to go back to France?
Yes.
We'll go
Always.
to Parc Asterix, where there's one that you guys mentioned, and that's the pathway behind Goederix. But it's actually used by the hotel guests, because that's like
Well,
the area.
I'm
Part of
talking
it
about
is.
the one on the opposite side. I mean, it may both be used for hotel guests because there's two pathways that kind of encircle Goederix, but I'm talking about the one where like you get close to the water, or you can get really close to the vertical loop, and you can walk like onto the grass patch, and then you kind of can go all the way around to where the queue is, where I guess the overflow queue
You can
is.
see it from the waiting area for the observation bar.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of
thing.
like over on that side.
Yeah.
This is the one I'm trying to talk about
Yeah.
here. But there's also another walkway that's even more direct for the hotel guests.
Yeah.
That's also the one where the Philautomatique's entrance was kind of smashed in. It looks really ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, because we
That
saw
was not the
traffic
one I was
coming
talking
to and
about.
from the hotel for that, but then this other loop where we were photographing the ride did
There
not.
was just nobody there. It was
Yeah.
kind of weird. It was like, oh, can we walk over here? And then we just kind of could walk and just take pictures of it. Like, you get, like, right over where the corkscrews start.
I think some of it was overflow for Goederix when it was like brand new.
It may still be used sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can, like, walk straight up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's another. Actually, this is a ride that people often forget about because it's a little bit hidden, and it's a semi-dark ride, with obviously the characters from Parc Asterix. So if you have you come up to the main mountain with Park Asterix on it, and you walk towards the Grand Splash, which is the ride. On the other side of that, you have a ride called Épidémie Croisière, and it's you can't really tell what it is from seeing the entrance, but it's basically like a boat ride, in Toverland you have the Merlin's Quest ride. It's a little bit like that, but you go into a cave and there's special effects, and then you also go through the little village of Asterix. So it's like a ride usually people skip, but I like it.
We definitely missed that.
I had no idea it was there.
Yeah, and
We're
usually there's
definitely
no
riding
queue
that
as
next
well,
time.
so it's really nice to have something not where you don't have to wait to ride as well, especially at Park Asterix. So check that out.
I
Well,
would
it's
love
funny
to
because
do
Park
that
Asterix
next
does have a
time.
couple of those things, like the indoor old Parisian halls where like, there's the little shows and stuff.
Yeah, and then the
I
big
guess there's a lot more of it there.
there's also the big spectacular show that is a bit hidden, and it hasn't been playing for a while, but I think they will bring it back, which is on the square with l'Oxygenarium, which is the the rafting ride, and then there's also the swing flyer. I never noticed that there was a show there until I was there with someone. It's also, if you can check it out, then it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, going back to that park. Let's see,
Except for the guests, I guess.
Again. Except for the guests, yeah. But
not everyone.
We'll brave the crowds for the Intamin multi-launch and to ride your little dark ride, because that does sound like right up my alley.
No, coasters-wise, it was a really great park. It was just a mess when it came to, like...
There's some operational things about that park that are total head-scratchers.
Spoiled the locker system already, and I feel a lot better.
Seriously. Anyway, so now we're crossing back over the ocean again. We're doing a lot of transoceanic flying today. We're going to Disney's Animal Kingdom, which, of all of the Disney World parks, not only is it our favorite Disney World park in general, but it's definitely our favorite Disney World park for hidden corners. This is a very pleasant amusement park to just be in. The same cannot be said for, like, Magic Kingdom, or even Disney's Hollywood Studios, to be honest with you.
Or Epcot.
And even Epcot in this era, with the constant construction and the global fascination with drinking around the world, leading to lots of drunken people stumbling and meandering around World Showcase, Animal Kingdom sometimes feels like the only part of your Walt Disney World vacation that will actually lower your blood pressure. There is a pretty large and substantial walkway between the two original major areas of the park, Africa and Asia. But there's also a smaller sub-walkway that it'll get you to the same place. But it's sort of like, I don't even know why it was built per se, because it wasn't
it doesn't seem to serve any purpose.
It wasn't a necessary addition, but it sure is lovely. You wouldn't know to go up there unless you were to just wander up there out of curiosity. But there's a little brook and some small waterfalls. Super quiet. It's dense enough in the trees where once you're up on that little walkway, you don't really see anything else. But it plugs right back into that main drag between Africa and Asia, serving only as a purpose of discovery and surprise, I suppose. There's even parts of Pandora that kind of take that to another level, because Pandora has two major midways, one that goes right through the center of the area and one that kind of circumnavigates the area, like for traffic purposes. Between those big midway arteries, you have a lot of little walkways and bridges and coves and things that can be repurposed as overflow queue for Flight of Passage. But under most circumstances, it's just being used as exposition for the area. And it's worth walking around in these areas and trying to see all of the pathways you can find, because there's so much detail in Pandora. It's definitely still our favorite themed environ at the Walt Disney World parks, and certainly one of the best in the world. But there's like elevated lagoons and little animatronics of like little animals in the water. There's different plants and trees and flowers and things that you might only catch a glimpse of if you happen to stumble down one of these naturalistic little random walkways in Pandora. So, and then there's the Tree of Life walkway, which we discovered this one.
So there's actually two walkways. There's the one on the front side, which
Yeah.
has like a bunch of animals
That has the
like
otters.
kangaroos and
Yeah.
stuff. And then you walk under, like really close to these where all the animals are on the tree, and then you end up where Bugs Life is.
Yeah.
But then there's also a walkway on the back side. They used to have more animal exhibits. Now they're just empty. But you can take the walkway all the way around the tree. You get really close to the water. You can see all the characters
That
floating
giant
around on the
catfish in one of the lagoons.
Yeah, and you can get really close to the waterfalls. You actually get close to the queue for, I guess it could be used as overflow if they wanted to, for it's tough to be a bug.
Yeah.
But that's a really,
You
really
go
neat
right
walkway
up
that like you really
above
wouldn't go on unless
and
you
like
kind of
in
just
the tree
went off
trunk,
the beaten
kind of
path.
like right on the border of the edge of the tree trunk. There's just so much infrastructure. There's so much park there, like hiding in plain sight, but it's not really used for anything because if you're not going to a ride, a restaurant, a shop, or anything, like you would have no need to access this walkway, and it's not prominently regarded the same way that like the jungle treks in Africa and Asia are. But it's sort of in that same vein, except it's quieter, and there's not as many animal exhibits. But, the animals living in these exhibits are, like, living their best lives, being virtually unbothered by passersby because nobody really goes into these areas. So, definitely a great example of a hidden corner.
Sounds nice.
A hidden corner full of hidden corners.
Another park full of hidden corners is Silverdale City. That's next on our list. So Silverdale City, obviously, everything is hidden to the point where like every major roller coaster somehow is hidden. Like you'll see some from the parking lot, and they get inside the park and like, where the hell are any of these rides?
Every coaster needs
you
three
literally
directional
cannot see
marquees.
any of them except for maybe Time Traveler. But even that, you just kind of see the marquee because that's the most glaring thing.
Yeah.
So that's obviously really cool. And every area of the park or every offshoot of the park kind of is a dead end, so in a way there's a lot of hidden corners, but there's one that we stumbled upon on our last trip a couple weeks ago that is actually a patio from the front side because of the sheer mountainous terrain of the park. On the front side, the patio looks like just like a little shop patio, but the patio actually goes all the way around the building, and it suspends a couple dozen feet off of over the theater that's on the back side of it, and then also looks right over Time Traveler. But there's a bunch of those little swinging chairs.
Well, rocking chairs.
Chairs, whatever they're called. And it's really, really relaxing. You get to look out way off into the distance in the mountains. You don't really see anything except for Time Traveler through the trees. It's really, really relaxing. There's direct sunlight on it. And you just really wouldn't know you could get there. We figured it out accidentally because we went to the theater to try and get some pictures of Time Travel. And we looked up and we saw this giant patio kind of suspended over it, like not part of the theater. And we're like,
a big wraparound
can we go up there? And then we made our way up the mountain again, and then we walked over there and we realized it was open to the public. Really, really relaxing, really nice spot. Definitely a good spot if you want to take pictures of Time Traveler, but also it's a good spot to just kind of relax if you're there for several days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the SCC winner for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Especially just the sheer change in elevation there is crazy because that the theater is a giant amphitheater built into the natural terrain.
It's
and
like
it's
a steep
very steep amphitheater that seems to go way down the edge of this mountain, and then still way above it is this patio that is seemingly hanging off the edge of this otherwise unassuming building that I think is either a restaurant or it serves other purposes occasionally. I don't think it was open on our visit, but you can still walk up to the porch and then all the way around to the other side for some great views of the Ozarks and some roller coasters and stuff. Yeah. Definitely a great area. You can even charge your phone there. They've got power outlets on the walls. Lots of places to sit.
It's nice.
Really great.
Well, we'll go to Belgium now. Yay!
Woo!
Walibi, Belgium. It was funny because when I was looking at the Google Maps to like if there are any other corners that I noticed, I had such a Six Flags vibe because like when I played Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 with
Uh-huh.
with the park. Yeah, it really made me think of that. But so in the western area of the park, you have the Dalton Terror, and you have
Mhm.
Okay, now I need to watch out, otherwise Alex
Wait,
will
what is
laugh
this
at me.
one?
Calamity Mine.
Calamity Mine.
Calamity Mine.
Calamity Mine.
No,
Calamity Mine.
I never said that, but anyway.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
You can go up the stairs, and I think they even use it sometimes as overflow queue for the ride. But on top of the station of Calamity Mine, you have a view of the ride, obviously. And now also nice is that you can see the overbank turn airtime hill of Conda as well. So it's a nice
Yeah, that looks really
spot
cool.
to
Very
take
nice.
some pictures, and you usually there's not a lot of people there. Maybe some to take pictures of their children on the ride, but it's a nice viewing spot of the Calamity Mine coaster.
Nice.
I can't wait.
I really
That
look
ride's
forward to
high
going
up
to
on
that
my
park.
list.
To be honest with you, somebody asked me kind of on the spot, like, what my number one bucket list park was, and I said Wallaby, Belgium. I just want to go there so badly, and it was like the opportunity just
Aw.
didn't pan out last time.
What is your number one bucket list park, Sven?
I think Islands of Adventure and Animal Kingdom.
Really?
Those two are like high on the
Yeah,
list.
we've taught you well.
And then
Yeah, I think.
Silver Dollar City, Dollywood. Those are like
That's a lot of quiet corners in your future. with
Yeah.
that list of bucket list parks. It's quiet corners.
Yeah, I think for me right
All
now
around.
it's Universal Studios
Singapore,
Universal Studios
Beijing.
and Europa Park.
Europa Park.
Admittedly,
yeah.
those are my three bucket lists.
Yeah, I get
definitely.
A little sidetrack.
I just really want to go to Wallaby, Belgium, because it just seems like a park that I should have already been to, and now
Oh yeah, again.
been to all these Belgian parks someday. All right, so speaking of Six Flags parks that went through a lot of changes during the early 2000s, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, formerly Six Flags Marine World. Back in the day, when I was a little boy, we went to this park when it was still Marine World Africa USA, and there's in the back of the park there's a walkway that goes right up against the Lake Chabot. This walkway is very old Marine World, like it's a very straightforward kind of traditional.
But very scenic though.
Yeah, it's very scenic, and in the
Touches the
wake
water.
of the rides and the Six Flags acquisition of this park, the Midway hasn't changed a whole lot. There's a couple of small flat rides.
Well, admittedly, Six Flags has always done a very good job keeping all the rides in one corner, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the park is very much still like a marine
Yeah.
wildlife park. So
They've been building rides forward. Coasters and rides and things are forward, festooning the entrance of the park. Much of the back of the park, a lot of the old Marine World, is largely intact. And so now this walkway, there's a couple of small flat rides. There's Monkey Business, which is like a teacup type ride, and Thriller Gorilla, which is like a map
Love those
rides
names.
regatta. Yeah.
Thriller Gorilla, yeah.
But those are great little gems for if you're at the park and it's busy and you just want to ride something, or you're with kids and they want to ride something over and over again. But yeah, this walkway, there's like the butterfly garden is there. It's just very quiet. It's so pleasant. You close your eyes and you can imagine still being at Marine World Africa USA and not Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. You keep following it. The shark exhibit is, I think,
Eventually, it kind of
Eventually.
ends at the shark exhibit where the food plaza is. That's
Yeah.
kind of the first thing. But it goes all the way from the animal side of the park where the giraffes are and the tigers and the
Yeah.
lions. So it gets all the way, and it's all down the hill because like the park is located on a hill because the
Mm-hmm.
theaters and stuff like the amphitheaters for the dolphins shows are on the hillside, and then but all the way at the bottom of the lake.
that's true.
where
That
the
park is
walkway
quite topographically varied.
Yeah, it's very topographically varied.
Most of the areas that have coasters are not super topographically
But
varied.
they're on top of the hill.
Although
and then everything goes
Kong
very
sits
downhill.
on a major slope.
But if you look at the parking lot, it's located on this giant hill across the
Yeah.
lake. It's a very cool setup.
Yeah. It is really lovely.
It's a very high budget for a park that doesn't get talked about a lot. Yes, operationally they could always do better, but it's just a Six Flags story.
For like a moderately sized park with lots of big roller
It
coasters.
used to be a really big favorite park for us. We
If
go
you're
a lot.
on that walkway,
We went a lot.
our hidden corner here, you can't really hear a lot of the other rides or anything. It's very serene. just because of the way the hillside kind of acts as a sound barrier for most of the parks on the front.
We're in this California kick, except for we're not actually physically there.
Yeah. We're always there in spirit.
Another place where we're always at the spirit, but we're not physically there, is Chimelong Ocean Kingdom. Go figure.
Of course, it needed to be on the list.
I literally said that. Sean was like, well, maybe we should cut Chimelong. And I'm like, it's literally our brand to talk about Chimelong Ocean Kingdom every episode.
I was going to cut it because people are probably over it, including Sven. But
Josh Knight, cheap enthusiast, would be like, y'all didn't talk about Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in this episode.
He calls it Chimelong and Ding Dong. Anyways, so Chimelong Ocean Kingdom, in its infinite grandiosity and its amazingness, it also has a magically hidden corner with a parent and child gardening center.
That's literally the name of the attraction.
Okay.
So there's this little loop that is called Seabird Paradise, and it's part of Mount Walrus. Mount Walrus is the infamous Mount Walrus that if you don't know by now, get a life.
The infamous double walrus peak.
It is Mount Walrus.
The Max Super Splash.
Max Super Splash.
Yes.
That goes through the seals and sea lion aquarium.
Anywho, Seabird Paradise is a mini little paradise, as the name implies.
Miniature.
With
seabirds.
Different kinds of seabirds and what else called again?
They had
animals?
they had capybaras, which were
those.
an unexpected delight. Giant
There's
guinea
a little coaster
pig-looking
called
creatures.
the Jungle Coaster.
Yeah. Yep.
But within that long walkway of like these turtles and like all these little animal exhibits, there is a little garden, and it's literally called the Parent and Children Gardening Center, and it's like the idea that you just like go and garden with child. You're at like China's most visited theme park, 14 million people, world class shows, and then you just go and garden with your kid. Whatever rolls your, whatever works for you. But it's super cute, and like beside the park being obviously made for the masses and quite busy, and the operations are incredible. That corner of the park felt like nobody had been there. Like, it was just dead. We were alone for like the whole hour exploring it.
And it's new. It was added to the park years after they'd opened. It's probably useful to have on their busiest of busy days, which our visit, it was quite quiet, so.
But it was just nice to have another, like, giant animal exhibit area, because, like, that park is just filled with the most incredible animal exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just a really fun little walkway that we kind of get stumbled upon because we saw a little sign saying Seabird Paradise.
Yeah, we're like, what is
whatever,
this?
Let's go in.
Total surprise.
That's kind of how the whole day went, like, whatever, let's go in and find out. And then we were like, oh, wait, this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
This is very neat. There was like a singular parent with their singular child gardening, and that's about all we saw. So, next.
All right. One of your bucket list parks.
That's right.
Sean, Europa Park. And actually, this was the inspiration for the episode because James was recently in Europa Park, and he went on to the lighthouse of the Whale Adventures Splash Battle ride in Iceland.
Whale Adventure.
And no, but it's Europa Park this time. And he made a reel of it on our European Coaster Kings Instagram. But so you can actually go up the tower of the lighthouse, and you have a nice view of the Splash Battle, but also of Wodan, also of a little bit of Blue Fire. It's like a nice, quiet zone. And another thing that I wanted to mention was the Spices restaurant. Last time we went there, we had a very nice seating outside. And basically the terrace is right next to the rapids ride, the fjord rafting. And the train passes by as well. So I remember having this video from the train passing by, and then the rapids also, just people getting wet, obviously.
Europa Park has a train? Why am I forgetting this?
There's... You could
remember...
make like a transportation map of the ways you can move yourself in Europa Park, because there's the little monorail, there's the big monorail, there's the train.
Big monorail. Because we did both of the monorails. I can't remember if we did the train. I certainly didn't do this lighthouse. That's like such a great little
to be fair,
hidden corner.
It's a little small train compared to... they have the same type in Plopsaland, so it's always funny to see it there.
So it's kind of like a narrow gauge train.
They turn into some sort of party train.
Yeah.
Party train.
Yeah,
It's not like
quite
Efteling's
small.
giant steam
Isn't that
engine.
the most Wallaby thing ever? Like the party train.
Yeah, it's a bit similar to that one. Yeah, to the Wallaby Holland
Look,
one.
every train is a party train if Coaster Kings is on board.
Wow.
But you have a station in Berlin, in Russia, in England. Am I forgetting? In Spain, there's one as well. So there's quite some
Okay.
International
places
access.
to
Okay.
hop on.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's enviable.
Little intercity
Big
express.
structure. right there.
and during the winter, they theme it to like the winter version. So you have like the
The
ice,
party, the winter
the
party.
fake
Winter
ice
party
melting
train.
from the sides of the train. But typically Europa Park. It's really nice.
That's so classic.
Wait, the fake ice melting, so it's like raining on the side of the train.
No, but it's just a bad description of like foam,
that's okay.
probably.
It's alright, Sven.
Sorry, I'm just like gonna.
Poor Sven. He's
I'm
doing
gonna buy it right now.
to describe it.
Yes, I tried.
No, you're good.
Okay.
But yeah, Europa Park,
Sven,
and do you know there's three places to go pray in Europa Park.
to pray.
So you have the Danish church, which is in the Scandinavian area, and I think they sometimes even do services there. Then there's a little chapel. I think it's close to the Dutch area as well. And then in the Santa Isabel Hotel, there is a third chapel as well where they do services. So
oh, wow.
That's wild.
and every new ride that they build gets the blessing from the local priest, I think. So I remember that from the Voletarium opening. That's right.
So many in the German boonies, but that's so many in
I
the
mean,
German
good for
boonies,
them,
I
I
think.
guess. That's nothing. I guess I can't say anything.
I think it's just
Dollywood has a
classic,
church
because like, it's
too.
like christening ships and stuff. That's kind of how I do it. I have like a bottle of.
They throw a bottle of champagne at it.
Champagne. They're like, Voltario.
Seems like a waste of good alcohol, but you know, it's good for social media, I guess.
Speaking of whack.
Okay, so moving in a more secular direction now, we're going back to Universal Studios Florida.
Which is not at all a church.
No. If there's anything that you're praying about, it's that you're like praying for Fast and Furious Supercharged to be over.
Why don't you make it off of the following ride?
But so if you enter the park and continue down the first main midway that you see, you've got Rip Ride Rockit on your left. You keep going. There's Shrek, which is now closed and has been boarded up with Minion construction walls. You keep going. There's to your right is like Central Park. You go past Mummy. You go past where the old Ghostbusters show was, past Jimmy Fallon, all of that. You keep going until you basically hit the end, and you're kind of behind Rip Ride Rockit, the big treble clef element on Rip Ride Rockit. You can go around the left to it a little bit. There's some tables and stuff. I feel like because there's nothing over there, it's not obvious that the park hasn't really, like the midway hasn't ended yet. So you can walk around over there. It's still definitely part of the main midway. But they've got tables and stuff. You can take a breather. There's great views of Rip Ride Rockit.
There's some photo ops, like an entrance to a metro that obviously isn't cool. And yeah, like Alex said, you can get really great shots of Rip Ride Rockit from below.
I just hadn't realized that it went around to the left as far as it did. But yeah, it's definitely a hiding in plain sight kind of hidden corner. Because you look right at it, but it just doesn't seem apparent.
There's anything back there for you to really go to.
Yeah, there's certainly no reason to go back there.
Nothing if you want.
So people just don't go back there unless they kind of are wandering around. But yeah, one of the few places at Universal Studios Florida where you can get some interesting roller coaster shots, really, since Rip Ride Rockit is really their only photographable roller coaster e-ticket attraction.
Another hidden corner at that park that I want to point out real quick. It's not necessarily a hidden corner, but it's an effect. It is the House of the Order of the Phoenix, which is located in London, and you would just pass by not thinking anything about it because it really blends in with the rest of the giant facades.
Yeah.
You know, that cover up Diagon Alley. But if you walk up to the door and you knock on the door and you step back, an elf appears, or a house elf appears.
Yeah, it's Creature, isn't it?
It slides open.
Yeah.
The curtain looks at you, and then so there's a whole animatronic interactive setup that you just wouldn't know unless you went and knocked on the door.
Such a great little Easter egg.
Knock on the door of the House of the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Last but not least, We have another Orlando
Staying in
park,
Orlando.
SeaWorld Orlando, Journey to Atlantis. So when you enter the park, you go through the Key West area, which is located right over by Manta. It's off to the left side. And you follow all the way around Key West and by the dolphin pool and the turtle track. And you follow your way around. You suddenly hit not Jurassic Park, Journey to Atlantis, right in front of you. And your natural idea would be to just go right and then go towards the front side of the ride in the splash area, and then head to the entrance of the ride. However, if you really wanted to, you can take a left. And you can walk all the way up to the show building, and you can walk underneath the lift on the drop. You get a great view of the little mini FU drop that I call that. The little drop that really messes you up.
The block section drop that just
really
soaks your feet
really
and nothing else.
messes you up badly. Cute little angle to see people die.
Figuratively.
Figuratively of wetness.
Oh wow.
So you're like, screw you, they get really wet, it's so funny. Anyway, and then you can continue through, and you get an awesome view of the boats rolling by you, inches away from you, and splashing into the water. It's over by, and then you gotta get to the aquarium. But yeah, you can walk all the way up to the splash, and if you're tall enough, you can pretty much touch the track of the trough of the track.
It's awesome.
Really, really cool.
The ride is right there,
and nobody really knows about it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anyone over there. Nobody walks over there, but it's a really, really neat angle to kind of just get nerdy and see people get really wet.
It kind of blends in. It feels like it's just part of the scenery, but a walkway just threads right through it. You can really appreciate how dramatic the pull-out is on the drop for Journey to Atlantis that way. It's a forceful drop because
it's very
it goes
shallow.
so steep and lands so abruptly. And
doesn't heckin'
definitely highlighted
rumble
by that walkway.
So yeah,
Nice.
that's 15 hidden corners.
Yeah.
I guess we had more than 15 because we had 15 parks, I guess. And
Yeah.
then
I was about to
That was-
say,
yeah.
if
Some bonus-
There
people,
was definitely some hidden corner parks that are
yeah,
focused.
I was about to say that if people are listening and oh, I know this very nice spot as well in this park, just let us know, and then maybe we
Yeah.
can do
yeah,
a next
let us
one.
know.
Comment on social
We can
media.
figure it out and make it an annual thing.
There were whole
Or send
parks
us.
that we cut from this list because we knew it would take too long. So who knows? If you guys like this episode and listen to it a lot and give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, we may do a second episode of more
Yay.
hidden corners, including hidden corners that you suggest to us by reaching out to us on social media.
What we're definitely doing is our Minnesota series. So every Monday
Yes, minisodes.
we have our Minnesotas. We just launched Ian's
E for Excalibur.
Excalibur!
And of course before that we had Dragon, Cop Car Chase, Blue Fire, and American Eagle. And next week we have Sven with his amazing next topic,
Furious Baco.
Furious Baco. And then Alex and I'll be back with 2 more Minnesotas after that. So follow us on any of your favorite streaming platforms. Also visit thecoastalkings.com. Check out the newest articles, website updates, our shop, all that kind of good stuff. Our social media. Currently, European Coastal Kings is in the lead with 18,000 followers.
18.1.
18.1. California Coastal Kings is almost at 18.
Almost
We're
at
3
18.
away from 18K. So we're just kind of neck and neck. So go follow all of our brands: Florida Coastal Kings, Coastal Kings, European Coastal Kings, California Coastal
Make a
Kings.
second account
I
and
know,
follow
we
us.
did that to
Your
ourselves.
new account.
And we'll catch you on next week's Coastal Kings Radio episode.
That's right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.